Well, we're in Juggernaut. As we were saying, it's two teammates, and it's a very big map. I'm not really expecting anything too crazy around here.
Well, so far no proxies or no shenanigans happening. Just the Reaper will go ahead and go across the map. I do like the wall off of ZEST, making sure that that's completely blocked off. No Reapers can come in through that avenue.
Yeah. Well, they can do like the trick with the grenade, since it's just two buildings. And well, it looks like Curie is doing exactly that, and he fails at doing so. Yeah, that was not a great sight for my eyes, but yeah, it's not that easy to do.
I actually never seen that before.
Yeah, you can just Reaper grenade your own Reaper inside the structures if there are only two structures. You make that wall off with the pylon as well, so that it becomes impossible. But I guess ZEST can be bothered with that.
Alright, so
Actually,
far...
I think there are some layouts in which even free buildings, like, you can still slip through, but it's a particular layout.
Yeah, I would imagine it kind of requires some precision to pull it off.
Anyhow, what were you saying?
Oh, so basically, you know, so far Kier is pretty much in the dark. He has not yet seen the Twilight Council, as that is nicely placed there in the backside. But it's going to be a Blink Stalker opening. Now, this ain't going to be a like a 4-gate blink, which sometimes we do see protests do. But it is going to be a 2-gate blink with an earlier third.
Yeah, earlier third, earlier Robo as well. I wasn't really expecting the Robo to come up as soon as it did. I guess ZEST is kind of prioritizing map control. It wants to get an observer on the map as fast as possible, which is actually pretty understandable. Curie is a fairly aggressive player. Getting Blink Stalkers on the map as well as a couple observer, definitely a good choice.
Yeah, and like how ZEST is kind of starting positioning his Blink Stalkers here at the main base, knowing that that's probably where any potential drops, whether it's Hellion drops or Widowmine drops in this case, is going to go ahead and take place. And here we go. Nice response time by ZEST. Gets on top of the medevac, but doesn't quite snipe down these Widowmines.
That is actually kind of a beautiful defense in my mind. Only one Widowmine is actually surviving. The medevac goes down. Blink upgrade finishing just as the medevac got there. It was a very, very excellent timing from ZEST and a very clean defense from the Protoss player.
Yeah, taking pretty minimum losses there. I mean, 3...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's go ahead and just bring up the units loss tab there. 3 probes, 1 stalker versus 3 Widowmines and 1 medevac.
Yeah, and like at a certain point, one of the Widowmines was even targeting a sentry, so it even had to micro a little bit. So losing one Stalker, I think you're much better off losing a Stalker than losing a sentry, especially this early into the game.
Alright, the first 2 medevacs are about to pop out. We should see or expect a push here towards probably maybe the third. Could drop into the main as well. We shall see. But so far, we do see ZEST kind of placing 1 stalker in the front just to make sure he kind of sees the move out of the units, which is pretty smart because, you know, he is going to have a later observer with the later robotics bay, or sorry, robotics facility, as he made a war prism instead of an observer. But I do like this. ZEST going for a counter drop here. Wow, this army is out in the middle.
Yeah, it's a very bold play as well. Like, this war prism is about to deal some serious damage, but it's not like ZEST has much to defend back home with. Shield body overcharge can certainly help. This is a fairly mobile army on the Southern Cure, and it's already clashing here in the natural. Shield body overcharge gets used. The sentry is a little bit too exposed. These Widowmines are gonna absolutely annihilate one single immortal the army of ZEST is not faring well into this engagement. All the prots pulled into the fight immediately go down under the bullets of those marines, coming like an avalanche on the blue base, and Cure is about to deal even more damage. More sentries about to go down. It's a lot of gas expense on the side of ZEST. Only 4 Stalkers left back home to defend. A couple Warpins will keep the Protoss player alive. On the other side of the map, 12 SCVs have been killed, but just underneath the production of Cure, you're about to be killed by those Marines. So, not much more damage than we were expecting. Still, a significant bite back on the side of ZEST, even after losing so much back home.
Yeah, I would have preferred to see ZEST actually warping those charge lot at home instead of on the main base of Kier. I think just dropping with the initial units, the 4 units in the warp prison, and then warping up the rest of the charge lot to defend at home would have been the smarter choice. But unfortunately, he did warp in across the map and didn't have a lot of units to defend and took significant damage. And now ZEST is kind of a little bit on the back foot. He does have 3 Nexus to chrono boost and make up some of those probe loss, but definitely I would say Kier is in a better position.
Absolutely. I do respect ZEST's way of playing. Like, he's a very aggressive player. Like, when he commits to this kind of plays, he kind of goes all out. And having a lot of gateways back home, because he already had an explosion of gateways after he saturated the third, he had a lot of gateways. So he felt pretty safe, pretty confident with doing that. Like, right now, after what happened, we know that the choice wasn't like really the best one. Having those zealots back home would have done much better for him. But even then, it's a choice you kind of have to respect. Like, it's still a lot of pressure that he's putting on him up. And the fact that Cure isn't ending this game, it's mostly thanks to this Warp Prism still being a threat.
Yeah, that's a good point. Never want to move out until you're pretty sure you have the defense at home to defend any drop play from that Warp Prism. And it looks like Cure has finally felt confident enough to do so. We'll go ahead and push it forward here at the natural of the Protoss, and there's a lot of infantry units with +1/1 versus only the 1 or the +0 upgrades of the Protoss. And shield battery does get activated here.
Oh, these Widow Mines getting a lot of damage onto the Protoss army. Beautiful concave on the side of Cure, and now he has 3 passageway into the natural of ZEST. Another beautiful concave, this time on the side of ZEST, with the probes getting around for this run, but it wasn't enough. Straight up numbers and upgrades win the game, and Cure leads the series. Here in the bottom left hand corner, leading the series, is the red Terran player from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. It is Cure.
And spawned here at the top right, we have our blue Protoss player, also from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Looking to tie up the series. Can he do it? It is ZEST.
Well, if there is one thing we got from the first game, I feel like this is gonna be a close series.
Yeah, I think I think what really going to dictate the overall score is kind of how the game starts off. Whether it's pretty normal or whether, like you said, it's pretty chaotic. And you know, I do gotta say though that it could very well be a stomp as well, because I mean the first map here was able to pick up, but now we're on Beckett Industries, which is actually a little bit Terran favored. So we very might well see here go up 2-0 and possibly sweep it cleanly and quickly. But
yeah.
I'm sure ZEST has gonna try to prevent that. Gonna go ahead and type the series and possibly make a series out of it.
Yeah, you make another great point. Like, Beckett Industries, very short map. Like all short maps are, it's kind of a little bit easier for a Terran to actually harass you out of the game. And Cure is fairly decent in doing that. So what I would like to see here is ZEST actually actively taking control of the map with some even a little bit riskier. Like on Jagannatha, I feel like ZEST played it safe, and it's not something you want to see out of ZEST. You don't want ZEST played safely, because that's not his style. Even though he kind of tried with that aggressive Warp Prism with the Zealots, everything else was just a little bit too laid back for a player of his playstyle.
Yeah, I think I would like to see ZEST kind of be more aggressive. I think he's, he's set up more better if he's the one on the aggressive end. And I'm not talking about like just Warp Prism counterattack. I'm talking about like, Blink Stalker pressure. Mm-hmm. So maybe instead of 2 gateway, maybe open up with 3 or 4 gateway blink instead. Looks like he is going to go for blink once again. And then just like kind of contain Cure for as long as possible instead of just trying to stay back and then go for a Warp Prism drop once he sees the move out. I think it will be better served if he's the one that's doing the containing and the aggression, and then while Cure is gonna stay back and play defensively.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's a little bit harder to do it on Backend Industries compared to Jagannatha, just because like the layout of the map is basically exactly the same, but Backend Industries is much smaller than Jagannatha. So like walking the distance with the Stalkers will mean that the Medivac will get to your own base much quicker compared to Jagannatha. But it will also mean you can get pressure on the map much earlier. And I do like that ZEST is kind of going for the same thing since he had Blink so early in the previous game. But I would like him to do something more, like you said. Something like just being proactive and not just being laid back and fearing the Widow Mines.
Yeah, I would say that it's going to be pretty important for him to get charged quickly because, again, he's not going to have a lot of vision, so he's not going to be able to scout Cure. And what we do know that's very prevalent on this map is those tank pushes, because like you said, it's a smaller map. Those tanks can walk across the map a bit more quicker. And so tank pushes are actually pretty strong. And knowing this, ZEST might want to go ahead and get those quick charge upgrades so that he can kind of make sure he has at least the tools to go ahead and clean that up should there be a tank push underway.
Yeah, either that or get some early Robobay to get some Colossi out as possible. It's the Templar Archives. That's a bold choice. Backend Industries has a lot of choke points, so Archons do very well here, as well as Storm, of course. But it's pricey. It's very pricey.
Yeah, I actually seen ZEST gone for quick Templar Archive games a couple of times actually.
Yeah.
But it's quite hit and miss because it's gonna really come down to the initial first 2 storms. So the idea is that ZEST's gonna have a War Prism, get maybe 2 Templars in the War Prism, and then if there's a tank push, he's gonna go ahead and try to go for like maybe a backdoor storm or something like that. And it's really, if the storm hits, then you can clean it up relatively well and okay. But if it misses, then it's really difficult to clean up the rest.
It's a very bold choice for multiple reasons, but I do like the thing that ZEST is actually respecting the Raven a lot. Like, good Raven play completely destroys like Colossi and Archons and things such as that, while a full like Stalkers, Zealots, and High Templars army, it's much less hindered by a Raven. Actually, to a certain extent, it's actually a very big counter to those kind of builds. As you were saying, it's a little bit hit or miss. In this time, Cure is not really going for any uber aggressive tank pushes. It doesn't really have a incredibly high number of Marauders or stuff such as that. It's gonna have like the free tanks. It's just an average standard timing attack. And I do feel like if ZEST gets a couple good storms at the beginning, it's up for a good run.
Oh yeah, he's got like 5 High Templars that's going to have enough energy to storm during the engagement, and more importantly, the charge upgrade is going to be done by the time Kira does go across the map. But so far, it looks like Kira is not even looking to maybe push out. It looks like he's just going to go ahead and try to establish his dirt here instead.
Yeah. I love the positioning of ZEST army. I love how aggressive he's being with his posture. Spreading pylons on the top left-hand side, so he does not fear any sneaky medivacs. He's ready for the recall. And the other side of the map is fully in blue with his Stalkers and High Templars. Absolutely love this positioning.
Yeah, same here. I agree. Right now, it's pretty much ZEST who's taking control of the map, and he's starting to take his fourth base. Now, that fourth base is always a little bit tricky because it's quite very choky, especially around the acceleration zone. So it's going to be up to ZEST to kind of make sure he has a surround set up if Kira is knocking at the door. But it looks like ZEST wants to do the knocking on Kira's side of the base instead.
Yeah, forcing a council on a refinery and getting this Warp Prism out on the map, trying to get some damage. And again, like, this is exactly what we were asking for, like, beautiful storms. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of dead SCVs. 14 kills. My goodness.
Oh my god.
That was something.
That was definitely something. And do you notice, like, he's actually led with two Zealots in the front.
Yeah.
And that is mainly to be able to tank some of the tank damage. So while the tanks are focusing on those charge lots, he can drop those High Templars without being shot at and targeted fire at, and then get off the storm there. So really smart move there by ZEST.
Absolutely. With a double forge behind this to start pumping out upgrades, and now double robo as well with a robotics bay, is fully ready to transition out of this army for when the ghosts are gonna be out. And like another beautiful storm, like this is completely zoning the army of Cure out of this choke point. Those, like, it's not even the most cost-effective trade ever. Like, it slows down Cure by such a huge margin, and he's already with the transition back home, a fourth base up and running. This is a very clean game on ZEST's side for now.
Yeah.
And those ghosts are pretty late. Like 10 minutes Shockwave EMP, that's a late upgrade.
And yeah, it's very late because, I mean, look at this. ZEST is already making Colossus tech. There is not a lot of Vikings here out in the field, so even if he's gonna have these ghosts for the counter of the High Templars, not gonna have a lot for those Colossus.
Yeah, and like this energy is starting to seriously add up. Much like all other spellcasters and units such as Wormos, like these spellcaster units just get a huge value over time if left unchecked. And I've not seen Cure threaten these High Templars once throughout this game.
Yeah, these High Templars has been able to pretty much get off those storms pretty easily. And here we go. The Colossus tech are out. The Thermal Lance is about to finish. And also even feeling like we're heading into kind of the later stages as that Dark Shrine is going to be plotted down as well. And here we go. That's going to go ahead and try to put some pressure here and push this dirt base, although it is pretty fortified, so that's going to have a hard time breaking that.
Yeah, with so many ghosts out, you have to be careful. That's a huge shock point. You don't want Shockwave EMP to hit your High Templars just as they immediately do. 2 High Templars forced to... Oh, actually 2 more High Templars forced to merge into an Archon. But here comes the big engagement with ZEST Colossi dealing a huge amount of damage. Archons tanking a lot of damage. Here come the Storms. Even a feedback. Shockwave EMP forcing, actually, these High Templars to merge into Archons and to actually die soon after. Beautiful interference matrix going on top of the Colossi. But I do feel like the numbers out of ZEST's army are just a little bit too insane. Feedback going on all the energy units, and ZEST gets game number 2. I love this map with all of myself.
Yeah, I think generally the players, the overall, or the majority of the players do like this map. I haven't had too much or heard too much complaints about it. So yeah, I think it's one of the more popular maps.
There's only one complaint I usually hear about this map, which I kind of agree on, which is like the natural is just a little bit too small. And there's so much airspace.
That's true.
Like so much. Like it isn't. It is something that I do enjoy as a spectator, but I do feel the players for not really feeling like that is something good. Like, just gonna make a small example. If you place a tank on the border of your third base, it can actually eat the Vespin Geyser on the natural, which is... It's something, guys. It is something.
Yeah, that's pretty close right there.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Looks like we have a little cheeky SCV here at the side. We'll throw down a proxy starport. Okay, right. So we're gonna have ourselves some Hellion drop underway here.
Yeah, like once again, it all comes to the close distances between the mineral lines, and it makes these aliens plays a lot stronger than on most maps. Of course, it's all about micro in the end, but like in the ends of Cure, this can be a very deadly play.
It's gonna be up to ZEST to kind of scout this. For the time being, he is gonna go ahead and try to scout with depth. He does see the factory, I think, with the reactor.
With the reactor, yeah. He did see that.
All right, so yeah, he should know that something's up.
Yeah, he does not need to see the Hellions to know that this is about to come.
All right, Medevac's about to pop out. Now,
and there's also Cyclone for defense back home. I do like this play as well.
Oh yeah, because you know, Hellion's not the most like power punching unit, so you need something a bit more heavy hitting at home to defend if there is a counter attack. Sometimes you do see a scenario where the Protoss is attacking with stalkers across the map while the Hellion drop is commencing, so that Cyclone does help out a little bit. So far, 5 probes going down, so I guess 4 Hellions for 5 probes. Do you like the odds? Do you like that trade for ZEST or for Kier?
I do like this trade for ZEST, mostly because he didn't really flinch. That's something that actually surprised me. Like, most Protoss players like to, oh my god, there are Hellions in my base, I need to escape, and then just pull all their probes and lose them to Hellions just being a lot faster than anything they have. And he just didn't really flinch. He was like, okay, I'm taking some losses. I know I'm taking some losses. I know how much I can lose. I know how fast I can kill those aliens. He didn't flinch. He just stayed there. He tanked the damage, and he got rid of all the aliens. And now he's on the other side of the map, threatening the StarCraft. It's like being cold in a game such as StarCraft is a very good thing.
Oh wow, ZEST is going to actually go for it. Trying to take down the starport, but the SCV does repair that just in the nick of time.
Yeah, Cure was much farther than he wanted to be with his Cyclone. A little bit of a missed defense on the side of Cure, and ZEST bites back without losing anything. I think he lost 1 Stalker, getting 5 SCVs. Like, this is already getting heavily in control for ZEST. Like, I don't see Cure taking control of the map anytime soon.
Yeah, in fact, he doesn't even have a third base on the way.
Yeah.
His third base is actually kind of a little bit later here. And we don't see a 5th or 4th barracks, so it's not going to be any kind of push. I think it's just ZEST was able to just defend so well, and you know, that 4 Hellion, that 4 Hellion drop, if it doesn't really get significant damage, it can kind of slow down your attack and your economy just a bit, because you know, you gotta switch over the factory to the reactor instead of having a barracks there, making a bunch of Marines or maybe even a starport there to make those medevacs. And remember, he did proxy his starport, So it took a little bit of time for it to fly back, and so for the longest of time, Cure was kind of lagging behind on those medevacs, and you can't really push out with so few medevacs. So only now is Cure poking out.
It really does feel like Cure is kind of forced to do some drop plays here, but keeping the Cyclone back home might have been the better choice, with a Warp Prism flying right into the main base of Cure and a lot of Zealots being warped in. I do feel like Cure might have stepped a little bit too far with his main army. He's getting something done on the other side of the map. A couple probes are falling left and right, and there's still the threat of tanks and Cyclone. But on the other side of the map, these Zealots are pretty much going rampage. They're going to take 3 add-ins. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, not only is it slowing down the army production, but he also got Combat Shield. One of the tech labs researching Combat Shield, or not Combat Shield, Marauder Concussive Shells.
Concussive Shells.
Yeah, so he is going to be without Concussive Shells. He is just going to go ahead and try to take out this dirt. Can he do it though? The rest of the Zest's army does come back in the nick of time. The shield battery overcharge does help kind of prolong some of these stalkers here. But I think he should have enough with especially with the rest of the reinforcement. He kind of pushes back and clean the attack up.
This has been one of the cleanest Protoss plays I've seen in a long time. Recalling the Warp Prism to repower those shield batteries and then overcharge them. That was a very high IQ play.
Yeah, I mean, ZEST, we do kind of label him as one of the more of the creative Protosses out there, and that's one of the reasons why he does have those high IQ plays that sometimes just make him look like an absolute genius.
Yeah, and doing that in that amount of stress situation, yeah, that's not easy. Trust me, that's not easy. I would have never came up with something like that, to be honest. And Shield Battery Overcharge actually did a lot in that fight. Like the Immortal and some Stalkers tanked a lot of damage that was being dealt by the tank. There are a lot of very good tank positions in this map, and being aware of that and recalling your Warp Prism to empower those shield batteries before the engagement even starts, that's a very good play.
Absolutely. Now Zest is kind of pretty much in charge. I mean, it's about to get to 10 minutes, and it's not. I mean, the third is yet to be established here by Kier. I expect that Zest will throw down his fourth pretty soon, as he is pretty much saturated, actually oversaturated here at the third. But Kier gonna go once again for a push, and this is maybe not the worst timing. I mean, he does have a 1/1 upgrade, right? And the Protoss is gonna be like halfway done with his +1 weapon, so this attack is gonna be attacking before that upgrade finishes.
Yeah, extender from a lance, still a long way.
Oh,
and that's kind of a beautiful force field. That was cutting off so many key units for Cure, and at this stage, you don't want to lose many units in the shoes of Cure. Like, you're not gonna get many more of those Marauders and Widowmines out quickly enough. Losing half of them, yeah, that kind of hurts. Yeah, and once again, the feeling that I get from this is that Cure needs to go for something aggressive with his Medivacs, like a double multi-prong attack or something like that, even though it's incredibly risky and it's not really going to pay off that much. It's because it's being slowed down by such a long time that it kind of needs to deal some serious damage, even if it's risky.
Yeah. Alright, looks like...
It's not like he's out of this game, of course. It's just that he needs to do something before Zest can just get a little bit uncontrolled.
Yeah, I mean, by the time that happens, I mean, Kira is basically giving Zest time to catch back up with the upgrades, and also build up his scary Colossus force. Now, Colossus, I don't feel is the greatest on this specific map, because there's just so much open area that it's very hard to kind of back the Terran player into a kind of a choke area where the thermal lance could get some significant splash damage. I would like to see that's going to add in disruptors though, because even if this is a wide open area where maybe the Bao can spread out and get on top of the Colossus, with the addition of these disruptors, you can at least kind of force the Terran to reconsider stemming in and trying to get on top of the Colossus, because they do, then the disruptors can get those shots off.
Absolutely. And also forcing the Liberators, it's a pretty good thing. Like, Kjör doesn't really have what it takes to get into Liberator tech super quickly, and forcing him to start making those Liberators before having a significant number of Vikings can be something decent. But it looks like these Vikings, even not having enough in number, are enough to just absolutely destroy one of the Colossi before the fight even starts. Beautiful blink forward. He's gonna catch those Medivacs, forcing Kjör to actually kite backwards and retreat from that offensive position. Like, the army of Kjör can easily get a good trade, a good fight. But for how long can it? Like, this is a 13-minute Shockwave EMP. Like, it's 4 minutes later than a normal match.
Yeah.
And ZEST is researching +3, producing 2 Immortals at a time. He's probably about to take a 5th base. Yeah, he's about to take a 5th base, I think.
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Yeah, just a 4th. But it's already saturated.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It can get a little bit too messy for Kjör to come back after a certain point. He needs to do something now. That's what I mean. And he's looking to do exactly that. This Viking's getting a lot of damage on top of the Colossi, but a beautiful concave from ZEST is going to absolutely annihilate the army of Kjör. So much splash damage. Archon, Colossi, and those sentries keeping everything alive and everything in check with those force fields. Perfect engagement from ZEST.
Yeah, man, those Archons, there's so much damage, so much splash damage on those Bao units. And Kjör, feeling like he's been behind and wasn't really able to get too much damage done with that attack, will go ahead and just concede. ZEST takes the series lead.
He needs 2 in a row to get into the finals. Can he do that? In the red, spawning in the top left-hand corner here on Romanticide, from Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it is Kjör.
And spawning here at the bottom right, hailing from Korea, also known as the best. Give it up for ZEST. So,
2 match points in his hands.
yeah, he is pretty much just needs one more to clinch this series. Now, I mean, this is against Kjör, who is, who is a very accomplished player himself.
Yeah.
One of the best Terrans out there. Although I would say he hasn't had quite the significant year. I think, maybe Maru and possibly TY in the year of 2020 did kind of...
And Dream as well. Like, Dream had an incredible year.
Oh yeah, Dream definitely improved in the last year or so. I believe he made, like, if I do recall, top 4 in GSL. Yeah.
Semifinals in GSL.
So very impressive from Dream. He is also making his mark as one of the top Terran players. And yeah, Kjör hasn't, if I don't recall correctly, but I think Kjör hasn't really had any like major significant like premier tournament win for quite some time.
He didn't. Yeah, like last year, like a couple finals, but he's always been like the player who was supposed to get in the spotlight very soon and then gets injured by something. And it really hurts because he's such a talented player.
Yeah.
Absolutely one of the best on the planet. No doubt about that.
Alright. Once again, ZEST getting a really nice wall off here. This time around, it has to get 3 buildings because this is a larger surface area on the jump off point, the cliff there. But he does manage to get it off, and it'll be once again Twilight Council. So ZEST sticking to his bread and butter.
Yeah, I do agree. Like, Blink is just It's just so good in this matchup. You cannot really skip it. You're gonna need it eventually. So getting in the early game, it's even better. Not even considering the map pressure you can get with just the early Stalkers. The map presence is just something that is so important in this matchup. You cannot really give up Blink. Blink is just absolutely mandatory. Unless you go all-in early on, but even then, like, Blink all-ins are probably the best all-in you can make.
And I think that's one of the kind of the differences between ZEST and Trap playstyle. I think ZEST is more prone to go for the Blink opening, and while Trap is, I think, more prone to go for a Stargate opening with maybe Phoenixes or Oracle opening of some sort. So I think
the same can be said for Stats as well. He's also a pretty starport heavy player.
Yeah.
But like they have different playstyles. Like ZEST is the kind of player who takes control of the map. Stats is the kind of player who just takes control of his own side of the map. And then there is Trap, who's a little bit all over the place. He's very unpredictable.
So, you know, as of late, especially with Trap winning Super Tournament, and making it third straight Super Tournament in a row, do you think Trap has taken the kind of the lead as the #1 Protoss, or do you think ZEST is still the best Protoss out there?
I mean, like, the numbers kind of don't lie. Like, Trap is absolutely popping off lately, and with very good reasons. Part of it adapting to the meta, being very starport heavy, especially in PvZ. Part of it, I do feel like he just has these boosting performances, but I do feel like ZEST is overall a little bit more consistent throughout his history, as well as Stats. So I do feel like ZEST and Stats are the better player just by how consistent they are, but peak performance, Trap is probably the best Protoss in the world.
Yeah, unfortunately, Stats has went off to the military, so it seems like we won't have Stats be playing for us for quite some time. So it's gonna really be up to ZEST and Trap right now to kind of carry the Protoss torch here. But anyhow, ZEST's gonna go ahead and go for a nice blink up. We'll clean up the rest of these tanks, and oh man, there's not a lot left here for Kier.
Yeah, that was a very cheeky play on the side of ZEST. Now SCV is trying to get this around on top of the Stalkers, but they will just blink into safety when they need to. Warp Prism granting high ground vision, making more Warp Pins and more Stalkers joining the fray, and these Marines do not really look like they can handle the blue firepower that ZEST is bringing on the red side of the map.
Oh yeah, 25 SCVs going down. I think ZEST has found the damage he needed to do, and Kier gonna go ahead and tap out. ZEST will be our first winner for the first semifinals, and you will advance to the finals. So well played there by ZEST.